It's time for Wave 3 Listens Live, taking your calls to hear what you have to say on Kentuckiana's first live local TV talk show and hitting the streets to be live on location in your community. All hosted by Cindy Sullivan. This is Wave 3 Listens Live.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to Wave 3 Listens Live. Thank you so much for joining us this Friday morning, September the 2nd. How about that? We have a great show planned for you today. We have a special guest in the studio. Michael Schafer has joined us, and we're going to talk about what happens to you if you are in an accident. Mike might be just the guy to be able to answer your questions for you, and we'll be talking about that, particularly at the scene of the accident. For instance, if you're in a car accident, what are the things that you do? What are the things that you don't do? What are the things that you say? What are the things that you don't say? So there's a lot of information that we'll be going through, and if you've got questions, if you've recently been involved in an accident and you've got questions for Mike Schafer, who is a lawyer, who might be able to help you, all you have to do is give us a call. 571-5263 is our telephone number, or you can call the 800 number, 888-800-9283. Mike, thanks for coming in today.
It's great to be here again, Cindy. Thanks for having me back.
Hey, listen, our pleasure. Nice to be inside a nice air-conditioned studio instead of outside in 102-degree weather, huh?
It was really rough out there last night, just watching the U of L football game. I can imagine for the players, both for Kentucky and Louisville, how rough it was down on the field, where it was probably at least 15 degrees warmer than it was in the stands.
Even, you're absolutely right. I mean, at 10 o'clock last night, it was still 96 degrees. It was crazy.
It was rough. A lot of water. That's what you have to do, that's for sure.
Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Well, the other thing, too, I think maybe that is a little bit related to that, when it's hot like this, people tend to get a little bit more irritable. They get a little bit more antsy sometimes. They get a little less attentive. And sometimes you get, this is trauma season after all, you do get, have a higher incidence of accidents.
I think that's absolutely correct, Cindy. The weather, the temperature brings out the worst in people sometimes. You're not comfortable, especially if you don't have air conditioning in your car. Road rage becomes a bigger factor. I had that problem on the way over to the studio this morning. I almost didn't make it here because a fellow tried to switch lanes right in front of me without signaling, and I had to stop really quickly to avoid it. And he's raising his hand at me and saying some choice words.
Ruh-roh.
And, and I think that has a lot to do with the heat, just like you say.
Sure. Well, Mike's office is actually downtown now, but exciting news, he's going to be moving his office here very soon.
Absolutely.
I have to admit, I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, I am really excited about that. I have some meetings with the bank next week, so hopefully it'll be in the very near future. Okay.
If you have been involved in an accident, Mike might be able to help you out. It's called the Schafer Law Office, and it's currently located down on 7th Street at 440 South 7th Street, Suite 200. The telephone number at the office is 584-9511, or the 800 number is actually an 855 number, 855-487-4878. MikeSchaferLaw.com is the website, and we will actually be able to give you some information on how you can get a booklet that Mike has produced called the Glove Box Accident Guide. You can keep it in your glove compartment just in case of that unlucky occasion when you happen to be in an accident. It'll give you a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It just lays it out, Cindy. It's a handy little eight pages, and you can take this, put it in your glove box, and it's one of those things, hopefully you will never ever have to use it. Hopefully it'll work just like garlic does to a vampire, and it'll keep you away from car accidents. That's not a guarantee, by the way.
Kind of like insurance. If you go ahead and pay for it, then maybe you never have to use it, right?
That's absolutely it. That's always the hope.
And it's a teeny little book, so it'll fit perfectly in your glove box. And just because you are watching Wave 3 Listens Live today, you're going to have access to that absolutely free through Mike's website, and we'll tell you how you can access that as we go through the hour. And Mike is here to take your calls today. So our telephone number, 571-5263. We've got wide open lines if you want to go ahead and give a call. Well, I say wide open lines, but actually we've got Donna hanging on from Columbia. So what do you say we go ahead and talk to Donna before we take our first break? Donna?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you have a question for Mike?
Yes. I actually help my neighbor lady. She's 85. She's from Germany. She doesn't hear real well, and I'm sure a lot of people don't understand her real well. but someone hit her yesterday evening, and I'm taking her to the hospital here in about a half an hour. She'd refused an ambulance, but she was hit so hard it knocked her hairnet off of her head.
Wow.
And I just, speaking as her advocate, was wondering what else I should do today for her. I was going to take her to the hospital to be checked out. She has a bad headache, and she said it did throw her head forward really hard. So we're going to get her checked out to make sure she doesn't have some whiplash and make sure she didn't have any back injury out of it.
Okay.
And we were going to pick up a copy of the police report today.
You're doing all the right things, Donna. Now, does your friend, does she speak English at all?
Yes, she does.
Okay, just make sure that she does understand the questions that are being posed to her. It is very important that you tell her not to minimize her injuries. We have a tendency when we go to the doctor to try to make things seem a little better than they really are.
Right.
Make sure she tells the doctor everything that's been going on with her from the time she was in the accident up until that appointment, whether it's gone away or not gone away, such as the headache you spoke of. If that goes away by the time you take her to the emergency room, she should still state that she had a headache, because that could indicate that she had a concussion. Another thing that is very important for her to speak of is any other problems she's ever had with her back, whether they were minimal or not. And if the doctor asks her if she has been in prior accidents, to tell all prior accidents that she had been in, whether or not she had been hurt or not hurt.
Okay. Well, I don't think she's ever been in an accident. She was, like I said, she's 85. She's very on the ball. She takes care of her sister who's 80 in a nursing home.
Wow.
She helps take care of all her affairs. I stressed to her, too, to be sure and not sign any paperwork from the other girl's insurance company.
That's absolutely correct. She should hold off until she's feeling better and speaking with the insurance company, signing any paperwork. And if you like, Donna, call my office and we'll send you a copy of my 7 Potholes book, which will have a lot of information in there. And if you would like to set up a time to speak with me about some other issues with your friend, we can do that, and we can either talk later today or the first part of next week.
All right, thank you so much for the call, Donna. We really do appreciate it. Of course, in addition to Mike Schafer's law office, he's also an accomplished author. He mentioned the Potholes book, 7 Potholes that can wreck your Kentucky accident case, and what you don't know about buying car insurance can hurt you. So those are also books that are available on Mike's website. If you want to go to MikeSchaferLaw.com, you can access those books. And today we're going to be talking about the Glove Box Accident Guide, and we'll give you some tips on making sure that you know exactly what to do if you are involved in an accident immediately. And Mike is taking your calls as we go through the hour today. 571-5263 is our telephone number. 888-800-9283 is the toll-free number. And a little bit later on in the show, we've got John McGarry coming in from the Kentucky Humane Society. I think he might bring a little bitty kitty cat you might be interested in, and maybe a little puppy dog, so we'll be talking to him later on too. We'll take a real quick break and we'll be right back with Listens Live. You just stay with us. Welcome back to Wave 3 Listens Live. Thanks so much for joining us today. Mike Schafer has joined us today here in the studio from his law office on 7th Street. He just kind of, no, you didn't stroll down. It's too hot. You drove.
I did take the drive.
Well, and what we're talking today specifically is this little publication that Mike has created. It's called the Glove Box Accident Guide. And this is actually a publication that you can keep literally in your glove box just in case you're involved in an accident. And it gives you some very important information that you need to keep in mind in case you're involved in an accident. Number one is stay calm.
That's exactly it, Cindy. The first thing always is to make sure everybody is okay.
Okay.
You don't want to put yourself in further danger. You don't want to move anybody that is hurt. You want to make sure that the police are called, but you don't want to put yourself in further danger, and the best way to do that is to stay calm and to evaluate the situation and see what you need to do next.
Okay. Number 2, don't apologize. That's difficult for a lot of people.
That absolutely is. At the time that you're in the accident, you don't know the law. You don't know the circumstances of how the law is going to treat the case. So if you go up to the person that hit you and say, I'm so sorry for this accident, the insurance company or the insurance company's lawyers are going to use that as an admission of fault down the road. The accident may not have been your fault. You may have made a U-turn, which you think you shouldn't have made, but is perfectly legal in Kentucky if there's not a no U-turn sign.
Okay.
So it's best to talk to the individual, make sure everything is okay. You know, are you okay? Do you need a doctor? Do you need and call the police, but don't apologize for what happened because you don't know what the law is at that point in time.
Okay. All right. And then the aforementioned number 3 is contact the police. Call 911.
Always call the police and have them out there. One, so that they can secure the area, they can document what has happened in the accident, and they can get an ambulance there and take care of anybody that's hurt if that is needed.
Okay. Number 4 is find witnesses.
This is probably one of the most important items in there because witnesses to accidents are really a key to the success of a personal injury case if you are injured and if you have to go forward on that case. I'll give you an example. Almost every week, people that come into my office as clients will say, well, there are witnesses to the accident. I said, well, great, did you get their names? No, but the police talked to them. Well, 95% of the time, the police may talk to the witness, but they're not going to write that name down and write the information down unless it's a very serious accident case. Police are very busy, and sometimes they just do not document this. So it's important for you to make sure that you get the names or a card or a phone number of anybody that did see the accident that you see around, if you're able. You know, never put yourself in danger of getting hit by a car if you're on the expressway or something like that.
Sure.
If you're hurt, I mean, the number one thing is to take care of your health. But if you are able, getting those witnesses can make the difference. And I have several cases where we would not have been able to collect for significant injuries if that Good Samaritan hadn't stopped and given the name and number, and the person that was injured had not actually saved it where I could contact them at a later point in time.
Okay, so name, address, telephone number, cell phone, any information that you can get.
All that you can get.
Okay. The other thing perhaps you might consider is taking photographs. A lot easier now with everybody with smartphones and all of that sort of thing.
It used to be really difficult, but
sure.
This is an old trite saying, but a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Sure.
And as my grandmother used to say, she wouldn't allow pictures because she says pictures don't lie, so I don't want to see them. But and that's the same thing in accident cases. Pictures don't lie. They tell the story much better than what you can. And if you say my car is totaled, that says one thing, but if you see the entire front end smashed into the steering wheel, that creates a whole different image. And the only time you can take the pictures of the car that hit you is at the scene. And once again, this is all tempered by if you are able and if you can get around without hurting yourself further and putting yourself in danger.
Okay. Gathering information is also critical when you're involved in an accident.
It is very critical, Cindy, because what happens is if you do not get the insurance information at the time of the accident, I can go on for a long time on this. One, insurance information. You want to get your car fixed after the accident.
Sure.
In Jefferson County, it takes about 10 days to get an accident report. So you're not going to get the opposing, the at-fault driver's insurance information until that 10 days runs. So if you don't exchange insurance information with the other driver, it's going to be 10 days. So it's going to be 10 days before you can get your car fixed, contact the at-fault car insurance company for a rental car. And if your car is not drivable, this can be a really bad situation for you.
Okay. And then finally, get the details of the accident.
You want to document where the cars came to rest, if there's any skid marks, anything that can show where the car was, how long it took the car to stop, anything like that.
Okay.
That is the only time you're ever going to have a chance to do that, and you need to do it immediately at that time. Once again, if you are able and don't put yourself in further danger, you need to take those pictures, you need to document, and this goes through the entire case, but you need to do this at the scene if you're able to.
Okay. All of this information and more in the handy little glove box accident guide provided by Mike Schafer from his law office, the Schafer Law Office. And Mike is here in the studio today to take your calls. We had a caller that couldn't hang on that has a question about no insurance, and then we've got Rebecca hanging on the line, so you stay right there, Rebecca. We do have some open lines if you have a question for Mike. Our telephone number is 571-5263. 888-800-9283. That's a toll-free number. We'll even pay for the call if you want to give us a shout if you've been involved in an accident and have a question. And when we come back, we'll get to those calls and more information from Mike Schafer. So stay with us. Welcome back to Ray 3 Listens Live. Happy Friday to you, September the 2nd, and we are talking to Mike Schafer in the studio today. He's a lawyer, and he can help you if you have been involved in an accident, not necessarily even a car accident, any type of accident that you may have been injured in.
We handle any cases where you may have been hurt by the negligence or carelessness of another person.
Okay.
Not always is there liability, but those are the cases that we work on. For instance, this week we've talked to people about slip and falls in McDonald's and grocery stores where they've fallen and hurt themselves. We've talked to people that have been injured when they've been bit by a dog.
Oops.
So there's, I don't know about cats, so since we have one in here today, so none of those, but any type of situation where you've been injured by the negligence of someone else, or you've been hurt and you have a question, give us a call and we can let you know whether we think you have a case or not. Okay.
So Mike will be here in the studio until noon today to take your calls. Our telephone number is 571-5263, and I'll give you his number at the office just in case you can't get through. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and talk to Mindy, who has been hanging on for a while. Thank you so much for calling, Mindy. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question about uninsured motorists.
Yes, Mindy.
I was in the span of about 11 months, I was hit by two different people, and they presented fake insurance cards or invalid insurance cards at the scene. And come to find out, I had my insurance company both times take care of my car, paid my deductible through them, and now I found out that the insurance was not valid at the time of the wreck, so I am out 2 deductibles.
Well, there are several things that you can do, Mindy. It depends on whether or not, if these have been within the last year. There is a 1-year statute of limitations on this, but there is a criminal charge of no insurance where you can go down to the courthouse and take out a warrant for a no insurance charge. Once that warrant is issued, they will pick up, or they will notify the individual of the court date. When the individual comes to court, they'll bring you in. You bring in proof that you were in the accident, things such as the accident report. You bring in proof that your car was fixed and that you were out the deductible and any other out-of-pocket expenses. When that individual is convicted or pleads guilty to that, one of the things the court will do is order restitution to be paid, which is the money that you are out. It will not be something that would be paid immediately. Usually it's $100 a month or something like that, but that is the best way for you to get your money back. It would be a separate charge on each one of these individuals. Another way to do that would be to take a civil small claims action out against each one of those individuals, but in that case you're going to have a filing fee. Once you get the judgment against them, then you have to worry about collecting, which is often more difficult than getting the judgment, because tracking down bank accounts, where they work, and that sort of thing is extremely difficult. I found that it's a very it's a big hammer to know that you could go to jail for 90 days if you don't pay back the individual. Wow. So, you know, I would take out these no insurance warrants. Yeah,
I would think that would be a bit of a motivation. Thank you so much for the call, Mindy. We do appreciate it. And we're going to go now to Rebecca on line 3. Hello, Rebecca.
Hello.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
I want to say I wish I had your handbook in my vehicle. All the times that I have been hit throughout my life. I am a multiple vehicle accident victim, hit 13 times over by negligent and drunk drivers, and
so
simply accidents. Your handbook and everything that you have just said is more information than I have ever gotten. And I had one question for you, because in the last, hopefully I will never be hit again, but one doctor said, would you like to know the percentage of how many times you might be hit again? I said, no, thank you. I was hit last in a doctor's office parking lot.
Oh, no.
Yes, here in Jefferson County at a medical center. And it's, you know, when you tell someone that, it just sounds as if it's a bump. Well, I was hit very hard, and I was the passenger in my own car. I was sick, and I had a friend drive me to be responsible, and I had full coverage on my car, and a woman in a huge van, and I was in a Taurus. She didn't see us when we were leaving,
Okay.
and she panicked and hit the gas.
Oh, no.
And I had internal injuries that weren't even found for over 3 years.
Oh, that's...
And I could not get a police officer to come on the scene because it is considered private property.
That's correct.
And, you know, no one had ever told me that. I must have called the police 4 or 5 times. I was immediately nauseated. I had internal injuries, and I could get no one to come. And she was refusing to give me her information.
So what in the world would you...
under the sun.
Yeah.
Well, here's the situation that you're in, and this is looking at things in hindsight, which doesn't help you too much, but take the picture or take down the license number of the car that hit you if they're not cooperating. Take that photo, that license number. We can take that to the Department of Motor Vehicles and track down who it is registered to. Also document, if you can, by taking a picture of the individual. It's one of those things, parking lot accidents are difficult because there's usually not a whole lot of damage. Sounds like there may have been a lot more in this particular case for you, unfortunately, but most people don't realize how seriously they can be hurt when they are in an accident like that, because little property damage does not mean that you are not injured. And I would always suggest immediately following an accident, go and see your doctor and get checked out just to make sure that there are no injuries that you're not aware of.
Rebecca, thank you so much for the call, and best of luck to you, and we hope that you are never ever involved in another accident.
Absolutely there.
We're going to go ahead and take a really quick break. John McGarry is here from Kentucky Humane Society. He brought a cute little puppy in to see, and we've got Randy and Sue and DR and Alan. You guys just stay right there. Mike Schafer will be answering your questions. If you've been involved in an accident, he can help. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Listens Live. Welcome back to Way 3 Listens Live. Thanks so much for joining us this Friday morning. Mike Schafer is in the studio with us today taking your calls. If you have been involved in an accident, actually any type of accident, and you have some questions, he can answer those. 571-5263 is our telephone number, or 888-800-9283. And we do have several people that have been hanging on for a while here, Mike. So
let's get to them.
We'll start at the top and go with Randy, calling from South Louisville. Hi, Randy.
Hey, how you doing?
Just fine. Thanks for asking. And you?
I'm fine. I'm just wondering, is Kentucky state law that you can't, I mean, if you're in a parking lot,
okay,
and you have an accident, is it just Kentucky state law, or do other states have a different law?
You know, that I am not sure of. I'm licensed in Kentucky, so I know that in Kentucky the police do not respond to private property. I would assume that is similar in other states, but in Kentucky, definitely the police do not respond. You call Frankfurt, and you would get a civilian collision report to fill out to get the accident information from in the record and document that accident.
All right, so Mike, let me make sure that I know what we're talking about here. So say there's an accident in the parking lot at the mall. A police officer is not going to come?
A police officer will not come. Usually there is the the security for the mall or the establishment that may come and document the accident and the injuries, but the police do not have to come. So it's even more important that you collect this information, you take the get the license number of the individual to make sure. And the reason I say that is, if the person gives you false address, false information, that license number will track them down through the DMV.
Okay, and then after you collect all that information right then and there, you leave, you go home, you call Frankfurt, and you ask for a copy of that report so that you can fill that out and get that submitted.
Correct. And then you would also call your insurance company, report the accident, and I would call the at-fault party's insurance company and report the accident to them, because a lot of times the individual that caused the accident is...
I'm going to let it go.
Exactly. So you need to take the action to get that done.
Okay. All right. Randy, I hope that helps to clarify. Thank you so much for the call. We do appreciate it. And Sue now is calling from Corydon, Indiana. Hi, Sue.
Hi.
Hi, Sue.
I was wondering if he can help me with Indiana law regarding uninsured motorists.
I may be able to.
My car was hit in an apartment parking lot, and the individual left the scene. So my insurance, all I had is liability on my car. The insurance company was going to file it under uninsured motorist, but the state, and you have to report it to the state would not accept it because it could not prove it was an uninsured motorist, which is a little hard when you don't know who hit you.
Well, it depends on the, most insurance policies allow you to allow a hit-and-run driver specifically in the terms of the policy to be considered a uninsured motorist. So you would look to the terms of your own car insurance policy to see how that is listed. I'm not quite sure where you were reporting this to. If you didn't have uninsured motorists, this may be a crimes victims fund so that you can get your medical bills paid. But I would look to the definitions in the Indiana statute to see exactly how they define an uninsured motorist.
All right, Sue, thank you so much for the call. We do appreciate it. And now we're going to go to line 4 with DR, calling from Louisville. Hi, DR.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I have a question. I was hit from behind at a stoplight, and the young lady that hit me came to the car. The ambulance came. She sat with me in the car until they pulled me out of the car and put me in the hospital. She was in the hospital, and they arrested her for not having a driver's license or insurance.
Okay.
I went to court with her, and she never served. And the people at court who take care of that said that they would make sure that my insurance company got $500. And I was supposed to return back to court, the lady in the court office said, but no one ever contacted me.
Well, more than likely the reason you haven't been contacted is that this individual that didn't show up to court that hit you, there's a warrant out for her arrest for not showing up at court. It's called a bench warrant. When she is picked up on this bench warrant, they will notify you by a subpoena or a summons that will come in the mail, and that will give you your new court date. And once that is ordered, restitution will be part of that to pay back your insurance company. But for the time being, really the only thing you can do is sit around and wait for the courts to track her down.
Wow. Okay, DR, best of luck. Thank you so much for the call. We do appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and take a really quick break right now. We've got plenty of open lines for you and plenty of time to get those calls on. If you've been involved in an accident, Mike Schafer is here to give you some advice. And his office is located at 440 South 7th Street, Suite 200. The main number at the office is 584-9511, 855-487-4878. Or you can go online and get lots of information about the practice and the books that he's published at MikeSchaferLaw.com. We'll be right back with Listens Live. Stay with us. Welcome back to Wave 3 Listens Live. Mike Schafer is joining us today. We're talking about being involved in accidents. And if you've got a question real quick, I'm sure we'll be able to get you on if you want to go ahead and call right now, though. 571-5263. And we're going to talk to Teresa here for just a minute from Lexington, Indiana. Hi, Teresa.
Hi. I had an accident a year ago.
Okay. What happened?
and a semi was parked. He was delivering fuel, and he was putting out his flares or those cones or whatever that they put out, and he was setting them out, and he realized that he couldn't park where he was parked, so he backed up and hit me where I was set getting gas. His insurance company is saying that he's not liable for hitting me. So it's been almost a year and a half. My insurance paid the claim, but I'm trying to get back my $500 deductible.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of needing to know, do I need to call the insurance, or the, where do I need to go with it?
Here's what I would do. This is a situation where small claims court is probably the best thing for you. I'm assuming that you weren't hurt, so there's no injuries in reference to this. We're only talking about property damage. I would file a claim in small claims court against the trucking company. You need to make sure that you get the proper service agent, because the company's probably from out of state, and get them into court, and my guess is that you'll get paid pretty quickly after you get them served.
All right, Teresa, best of luck to you. Thank you so much for the call. We do appreciate it. And Margie is calling from Louisville now. Hi, Margie.
Hi.
Morning, Margie.
Good morning. My question is, I was in a car accident in a school parking lot.
Okay.
At about 2 years ago.
All right.
And I went through physical therapy and everything, and I won't regain full mobility of my arm.
I'm sorry.
And now the insurance company is wanting me to go see one of their doctors to see if it's correct. And I didn't know if I have to do that.
Is the case in litigation at this point in time?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would speak with your attorney, but in most situations, the defense is entitled to what's called, you're going to love the name of this, an independent medical exam. The defense attorney, the insurance company is hiring this doctor to give an opinion as to what your injuries are, and the real purpose is to minimize your injuries and to say that it wasn't from this accident. So you are going to have to go through that. Contact your attorney and make sure you meet with him or her to speak about how to prepare for this exam, because there's a lot to do to get ready for this particular examination. Good luck with that, though.
Hey, Margie, thank you so much for the call. We do appreciate it. One of the questions that we had, or comments that we had quite often during this last hour, Mike, was about uninsured motorists. And that can be a really complicated situation, can't it?
It can be. I mean, one of the things that we've talked about is how to get the deductibles back for property damage and that sort of thing by taking out the no insurance warrant. But the real thing, the biggest thing that you can do to protect yourself and to protect your family against these uninsured motorists, and there's a lot of them on the road now because of the economy. People, if they have the choice between putting food in their kid's mouth and paying their mortgage and paying their car insurance, you know which one's going to go. And there's all these insurance companies that offer the base minimum coverage, which is only $25,000. So what you need to do is you need to contact your insurance agent and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage. That way, if you are hit by somebody that does not have insurance and you are injured and you can't work, you're going to be reimbursed for that. And another thing to do is make sure you have as high as limits as you can afford. And it might be $125 every 6 months for, say, a $25,000 policy. If you raise that to $250,000, it's not going to go up as much as you think, maybe only another $50 or $60, because there's less risk of you being severely injured. So call your insurance agent and ask him about uninsured motorist coverage and underinsured motorist coverage. Take the risk away from it, so if you are hit by one of these people that don't have insurance, you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, so that's the short answer. But if you want more information about that, you could always go online to Mike Schafer Law, and you could ask for a copy of his What You Don't Know About Buying Car Insurance Can Hurt You book, or the 7 Potholes That Can Wreck Your Accident, your Kentucky accident case, is also available online at MikeSchaferLaw.com. And you can also, of course, give him a call, 584-9511, and they can arrange to get those to you. We got another caller on the line here, too, we'll get to real quick. You have a quick question for Mike, Lisa?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
just hearing that lady speak about her case regarding the litigation part. Mine is not. I was injured on my job.
Okay.
And what I wanted to know, if it's not in litigation like right now, do I still have to see the doctor that is asked of me from the company?
In most situations, you have a totally different situation because yours injury happened on the job. It is what's called a workers' compensation claim. There's a whole different rules that apply to that, and yes, you do have to see the doctor that the company asked you to in reference to getting your workers' compensation claim paid and your medical bills paid in reference to that. So sorry to say you will have to go see their doctor.
All right, Lisa, thank you so much for the call. We do appreciate it. We also want to remind you that Mike has published a glove box accident guide. You can just keep it in your glove compartment, and it tells you everything that you need to know just in case you are in an accident. And just because you're watching Listens Live today, you're going to be able to get a free copy of this. All you have to do is go to MikeSchaferLaw.com, fill out the form, and it will be mailed to you absolutely free. Yeah. So you can check that out. What do you say we go ahead and take a real quick break right now? We've got a couple of tickets that we're going to give away. Oh, no, a bunch of them actually, passes to a movie. So you just stay with us and get your chance to win those movie passes. We'll be right back with Listens Live. And Mike Schafer, it's always good to see you.
It's great to be here. Hopefully you'll have me back again. Maybe we can talk about the insurance issues that arise.
All right, lots of information today from Mike. We really do appreciate it. Everybody have a fabulous holiday weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday morning with Listens Live.